What's up everybody, Smyers here. Today I want to show you how to make a bubble sound in Serum. And what I mean by a bubble sound is this. It sounds like a water drop. It sounds like maybe you drop something into water and then a bubble comes up. That is the sound by itself. I found out recently, I was playing around with this, that if I use something like an arpeggiator and then I play a few notes on my keyboard, then we can get like this bubbling sound where you have like water bubbles. And depending on the notes that you play, because you can hear the pitches, you can get a cool like bubbly sound. You can play around with these different styles of the arpeggiator or play more notes on the keyboard. Play around with the rate. And maybe you could even do something like where you're automating the rate. Or even this gate. I like it where it's pretty fast. Maybe somewhere around there. Let's do up. See how that sounds. So there you have that really cool bubbly sound. And that's just one of the examples which you can do with this sound in Serum. And I'm going to walk you through how I created this. And let's just do this from scratch. So let me go ahead and initialize this preset, put the voicing onto mono. And I'm just playing this on my small keyboard. I'm going to put up the octave. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just want it in a higher octave. Then I'll go into my basic shapes and I'll do a sine wave. Let's put this randomness to 0. And what I need to do is go to my LFO1. I am going to use the LFO1 to modulate the pitch of oscillator A. So LFO1 is going to the coarse tuning. And let's see, that sets it about, let's do 25. And the pitch here isn't that important. Like if I play a C note on my keyboard, this tone, I'm not really looking for it to be a C. So you might, like I have this going positive and negatively to 25. But if you do want it to be like if you play a note and it starts at the C note, maybe you could do something where you shift alt option it and then just have it go up 25. And maybe you could lower the octave there. But for me, I'm not really going for any specific key or pitch. So let's just do 25 because I just want to create this effect. Then I want to change the shape of this alpha 1. Now, I'm going to do flat. Just click on this folder. You have some basic shapes here. Just reset it, essentially. And for the BPM, this depends on the rate of your song. I did a short video where I did the rate at like 1/8, but I realize now, or someone mentioned that if I have a different tempo, then the actual sound of this water droplet or this bubble is going to be slower or faster depending on my tempo. What you can do instead is, let's do this to envelope, and I'll set this rate to like 4 Hertz. And then I'm going to add a shape point. Let's do a point there. I don't know why that gives it a curve, but let's do that to a point here. And then at the end, this last point, I'm going to add a point here at the end. And give this a curve, give this one a curve. And now, as I'm playing a note, it's going up to that really high note, the high pitch, and it's just playing that as I'm playing down a note. I don't really want that to be there. I just want to be able to play a note. It plays the water droplet bubble sound, and then it stops. And to do that, what I can do is I will just go to my LFO2 and do envelope, turn off the BPM, and we'll put it at 4 Hertz as well. And let's go ahead and set this to basic flat 100. So this is at the top here. And I'll put a point at the bottom, adjust this. In this LFO2, I will assign to the level of my oscillator A. So this is going to control the level. And what's going to happen is the level is going to be 100%, and then it's going to cut off. And because the rate of LFO2 is the same as LFO1, it's going to essentially follow this shape of the pitch and then turn off. So we shouldn't hear that high pitch note at the end now if I play this. And of course we did it because I have this set up wrong. So let's do, there we go. And that's how we get that like water droplet bubble sound. I do want it to be a higher pitch. I like to assign this mod, the macro knob, to the chorus tuning, and I'll just do Shift Option and raise this up to something like 25. And now I can just relabel this pitch and have different pitches of bubbles I can play. If I want my bubbles to be higher pitch, I can raise it all the way up. And you can make some adjustments to your shape as well. I like that pitch around there, a bit more high pitched. That's a deeper bubble. And you can also automate this pitch. And let's go ahead and now add on some effects. The main effect that I like to use is just going to be a delay. So let's go ahead and turn off this BPM. I'm going to link these together, do ping pong. It's going to ping pong the delay back and forth. And we'll lower this. Oh, let's link that. Lower this to... Sounds pretty good to me. And I'll assign this macro knob to just one of these. Let's change the modulation to 25. This is just up to you, how much modulation you want. Even just playing around with that macro knob, I can get some cool effects. And let's do this delay rate. And then maybe I'll just add another macro knob on the mix to the delay. Delay amount. And there I have my bubbly water drop sound. And then from here, I might add a compressor just so I can compress that delay decay. Like that. And then you can experiment with different effects. Like let's try putting on a chorus. Let's put on the arpeggiator and see how this sounds. I could try, let's do random. Let's see what that sounds like. So that's pretty cool. Like a underwater effect, maybe. You could play around with this chorus, you could play around with any other effects. Not just the effects in Serum, but like chorus I think is cool. You could play around with a phaser. That's a bit fast. Pretty interesting. Maybe let's try what it sounds like with a phaser. So anyway, I was just experimenting with those flanger, the chorus, distortion. I'm not sure if distortion... It sounds a bit more Mario sounding when you start adding on distortion. I would maybe avoid a distortion, but you could try adding on EQ. Or, like, cut the high end off. Make it more subtle. Like maybe as a background texture. But also I could see you using this if you change up this LFO shape. Take off this effect. Put it in a song somewhere as some random effect, and you can play around with this rate. Just make sure that if you do adjust this rate, let me assign the rate to a macro knob and then this one to the macro knob. And then this way that if I change the rate on this LFO1, it also changes the rate on this LFO2 the same amount, as long as the modulation amounts are the same. I feel like that's a bit too fast. Let's do this -20, and then this one, let's do this one -20. That way you can hear what it sounds like slowed down. Or let's just do a shift and option here. So we have it going both ways. Do the same thing on this LFO2. Put this at 50%. And so that's what we had in the beginning. And that's what we had in the beginning. And that way I can make it faster. So maybe that faster amount works bit better for using it with your arpeggiator. And then I can also just, let's just call this, what, speed? And then raise this up for an effect. Just play it once. A lot of cool things you can do with this sound. I actually made a preset out of it, and I'll put that in my Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also please subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed. And if you'd like to check out any of my Serum preset packs, head on over to store.samsmyers.com.